Welcome to the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, the longest running weekly Philly sports podcast show in the world. Great to be in your ears. Over 12 and a half years strong. We got a great show coming your way this week. We are going to be diving into, and I got to tell you, I cannot wait to get into this conversation with my buddy Eric here, a review of the 30 for 30 on the Philly special. We're then going to be diving into some Philadelphia 76ers talk. They're coming out of the All-Star break. Schedule doesn't necessarily appear to be too rough. What are our thoughts in terms of the Sixers team down the stretch here? And we're also going to talk about whether or not the one and only Cameron Payne. Yeah, everybody's like, huh? Anyway, can Cameron Payne on the Sixers be kind of a scoring punch that this team needs during the second half of the season? We're also going to get into some Philly spring training talk as well. And then what we're throwing down on the table, we've got Eric Moratelli from thatballsoutaofhere.com at Fansided. He's going to talk about Philly's spring training, what this season might entail. I'm Jeff Warren. I'm here with my good buddy, Eric Leonard. How are you, my friend? I know you were out of town up in Buffalo visiting your daughter at college this past weekend, but overall, how you doing, man?
Not the best, but yeah, had some medical stuff going on recently. So yeah. I'm hanging in there.
Thanks for jumping on. I'm glad you're able to jump on, I should say.
I'm not jumping by any stretch.
That's true. That's true. Glad we're able to chop it up.
Now I'm regretting jumping on.
Yes.
No, I had some blood clot issues and having a hard time walking and all the good stuff that comes with
bring out the wheelchair,
having a blood disorder.
Jeez. Oh man.
I know. No, but no, I'm happy to have survived and continue doing the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were shooting off some text messages of you being in a hospital, and we were all like, "Oh boy."
I know. I missed a big surprise birthday party for the other person on the show.
I know. Yes.
So
unfortunately, well, you were photoshopped into the big picture. You were photoshopped with a hospital gown on into the picture.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Those things don't leave much to the imagination.
They really
say
don't.
That.
Yeah.
The back is just wide open, man. And you always forget when you're walking around like, oh yeah, shit, my boxers.
Easy access.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we'll get off we could be doing this for the next hour, and we're here in the middle of our workday, so we should probably get back to work here at some point.
Can I do this real quick?
What?
Was I vaxxed?
Yes. I love it.
Yeah. Sorry,
all
assholes. Right. No, I was, but this all started way before all that nonsense.
Absolutely.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into this show here this week. Got to tell you, folks, I don't know about you all. If you watched the 30 for 30 on ESPN about the Philly special, my gosh, I absolutely loved it. I think it's probably my favorite one, and I'm so biased. But we want to dive into our thoughts on the 30 for 30, the Philly special. We got some correspondence from a few listeners, and they said, we hope you get into it. So we're going to dive into it. I don't necessarily remember a play, Eric, like a single play in sports actually getting a 30 for 30. Sure, there's been defenses, offenses, various teams, players, of course, over the years that have gotten the 30 for 30 treatment, but like an actual football play, I think this is the first one.
Well, as far as an Eagles fan goes, sorry, what you said, sorry, I was looking at the Phillies roster.
Oh, don't worry about it.
I was going ahead. So are you just saying like this is
I'm saying like I don't remember a specific play in sports actually getting the 30 for 30 treatment. Like this.
Okay.
Like sorry, a specific play in sports. Yeah. I think this is the first one ever.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the most memorable, and we're not being biased. You know, I mean there's the Montana to oh God, who was
Roger Craig.
No, because that wasn't a Super Bowl. I might more like
oh, that's right. Yeah,
to the other guy on the 49ers. I was just watching that doc. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's some famous plays, but like this one was so specific and so ballsy, and it was also tied to like such an underdog beating a Titan like the Pats.
It was.
there's a reason like that guys all over Philadelphia have gotten that stupid play
Yes.
tattooed on their bodies. I
Yep.
love it, but it is kind of insane. But that's how big that play is that,
Yep.
it's kind of, it's the only, I mean, besides the last Super Bowl, the flea flicker play, or the one where, they almost murdered Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
That play is very memorable, but this one is just, this was the one that like put the stake in the ground. We can also like just how it was, they had to do it. Like they had to run that play because the Pats were right there the whole time.
They were. Yeah.
And they had to score as many points as possible. And like, it'll get into the doc, but like, that's why it's so memorable, because it did lead to them actually winning the game pretty much.
Yeah. Well, getting into the documentary, what they establish, of course, early on, and talking to the five Eagles players who were the major contributors of that play, were Nick Foles, head coach Doug Peterson, Jason Kelce, Corey Clement, and Trey Burton. And it was interesting how, and there was another character we should say too, that they actually outlined right in the beginning, the character being the entire city of Philadelphia. So it's essentially 6 different characters throughout the course of this 30 for 30 journey. And it was really something, because we've all thought, you mentioned the underdog mentality, but it's something to think about when you think about Kelce, you think about Trey Burton, Corey Clement, who was only on the team for a few years, all of them underdogs, including Nick Foles too. Doug Peterson coming in as the head coach. Nobody wanted Doug. Nobody wanted him at all. And Nick Foles, he was almost out of football at one point. But amazingly enough, and it was really talked about in this 30 for 30, that Andy Reid, how ironic, ended up restoring Nick Foles' faith in his love of the game when he was in Kansas City. And I just think that was something else, where the former Eagles coach who got this team to an echelon of relevancy in Andy Reid was the one that inevitably, in another city for another football team, took Nick Foles and his mentality with the game of football and completely transformed it. I felt like in that moment watching that, if it hadn't been for Andy Reid, we might not have had the opportunity to win this Super Bowl.
That was like his parting gift to the city.
Yeah. Yes.
He also kind of got Dougie P into coaching.
He did.
Because from what I understand, when he was playing, you remember the one year when, what was McNabb's year when they drafted him?
Yep.
Dougie P actually played. And I know when they hired him, I remember Dougie P as a player and just being like, should he really be coaching? Because I remember how he played quarterback.
Right.
Wasn't great. But that's Andy Reid, I think, from what I understand, like kind of pushed him into coaching and led to him becoming the head coach in 2016.
Yeah. It's when I looked at this particular, I guess you can call all 30 for 30s documentaries, and I may be calling it a documentary here throughout our segment here, but with this documentary too, how the city of Philadelphia, I thought they did a great job with just specifically talking about how the city in itself, and Ray Didinger said it at the end of the actual 30 for 30 itself. He said it was more than a football game to us Eagles fans in terms of the Super Bowl, and specifically this play. It was more than just a game. All of us, how many times have we said on this podcast, Eric, we never thought we were going to see a Super Bowl. It was that mentality of, we are getting so close as Eagles fans, these Eagles teams, the Eagles front office, getting so close for so many years, but always that rug getting pulled out from underneath everybody. And as a result, disappointment, the mentality of the fan base being the underdogs really was prevalent throughout the course of the documentary. And the city of Philadelphia is just such a special place. And I know we're biased on that, of course. You live there. So many folks that listen to this podcast have either lived in Philadelphia or visit it on occasion. And the city of Philadelphia being that 6th character in this, I mean, it was perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah, and you have to think back. I mean, you can tell from us, our gray hair and wrinkles. We've been following this team a long time. Like, not even speaking about like my dad, who never saw a Super Bowl victory until then. But yeah, I honestly never thought it was going to happen, because I lived in Philly when they went to 3 straight NFC championship games. And after the last loss, I mean, I know they made it against the Patriots, but after that last loss when they lost to Carolina,
yeah,
I remember thinking this ain't ever going to happen.
Yeah.
And then even going into that Super Bowl the next year, I was like, oh, man, I don't think we're going to win, but this is fun.
Yeah.
And then 2008, they kind of made that run and lost in the NFC championship game again. But after that, there was really nothing of them getting to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And so it was really surprising. I know going into the game, after they crushed the Vikings, I remember actually thinking that was the first time ever in my life. I was like, wow, I actually think they're going to win the Super Bowl, And then as the game went on and the Pats kind of came back and scored that last touchdown at the end of the first half, the fact that the Eagles didn't go down in the field and score right away, and it got to 4th and 1.
Yep.
And they called a timeout, which they highlight quite a bit. I forgot they called a timeout.
Yeah.
And that's when Foles ran over and just said Philly, Philly, which isn't even the play.
It's not even the play.
Yeah.
They incorporated back then the commercial, the Bud Light commercial, where it was dilly dilly.
Yeah.
And he's like, subconsciously, I was probably thinking that because I had just watched the AFC Championship game. He's subconsciously thinking that. He actually called out the wrong play, yet absolutely knew what the play was, the Philly special.
And for Doug to just go, okay. Like,
let's do it.
Let's do it. Like, just the balls on those guys, two complete underdogs.
Yeah.
And then all 5 guys that were included in the play, complete underdogs, Lane Johnson, I remember him wearing he was the first guy I remember to wear the mask.
Yep.
And it's just like, he's not totally an underdog. He was the 3rd pick of the draft,
right?
But all the guys specifically included in the play were truly underdogs. And the fact that Foles revealed that he tried not to smile when he turned, to give it away, is like, that's pretty brilliant. I would have been like, oh shit, we're doing that play we did in practice with all backups, basically. Like, we're gonna do this. Holy crap! But no, it's such a ballsy play, and it literally led. They had to have that touchdown because if they kick a field goal, the Pats get the ball in the second half, all momentum is probably on their side,
right?
And that game probably takes a different path. And I have multiple notes here, just thoughts from the doc, because we could talk about the play ad nauseum, but we've all seen it 9,000 times.
Right?
We know the importance. The fact that the Pats basically tried it earlier in the game. And it didn't work.
Right.
Is insane. I mean, it's still to this day, you watch the replay, it's right off Brady's fingertips.
Yep.
And I kind of almost forgot that part when I was watching the doc,
Yep.
And then just random thoughts. Zahav, they all have dinner or lunch at Zahav, which is a phenomenal Philly restaurant. I was so jealous.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that Foles actually ate there before the Super Bowl.
I didn't know that
before
either.
The playoffs.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
And then everyone cheered, and it was like, because that place was right near my old apartment. I was like, oh yeah, like that's so cool that they were there.
Yep.
I thought Corey Clement was gonna have a better career.
Same
going down my notes. Man,
because he was so dominant that season. That was his rookie season. And
season.
I mean, he was a dominant running back, not just in terms of the running game. He's catching balls all over the place. His touchdown that he caught in the Super Bowl, amazing in terms of the tiptoeing in the back of the end zone.
Incredible. He had multiple great plays in the Super Bowl, and I thought he was going to have like a 10-year career, almost like a Darren Sproles kind of career, but it just didn't happen. The dude still looks like he could play. Like
he does.
Yeah, it looks great.
Completely jacked.
Yeah. Here's the thought I had too. So you and I watched it together with all of our buddies up at State College.
Yep. Penn State. Yep.
Up at Penn State. I don't remember being crazy excited about the play. I was so into the game as a whole.
Oh, really?
Like we kind of high-fived, but I don't remember us like doing cartwheels that they did it. It was like,
I mean, I remember I screamed.
I was like, wow, holy crap. Yes. But then I was like, okay, they get the ball back. Second half, they get the ball back. Like I was more so like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
And then looking back, I was like, holy crap, they did that in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact that Trey Burton had a glove on his throwing hand.
Yeah.
is kind of underrated. Kind of underrated. Like that's nuts. I'm assuming they left the glove on so they wouldn't think he was going to throw the ball, but
Right.
That's another ballsy part of the play for
Yeah.
him to have a glove on his throwing hand.
Yep. Yeah. Good point.
I thought
Yep.
R. Diddy was the star of the doc,
You know what? You're
like he
absolutely
always is.
correct. Yep.
The moment
His damn honesty.
Yep.
He's just a damn honest guy.
and he knows his stuff. He's
Yes.
been in South Jersey, Philadelphia area for his whole life.
Him and his son at the end. The
Oh,
emotional.
and they hug and he's crying. Yeah.
Oh my God, the emotional aspect of that.
He's always the star of anything he's in. Like he's really great in the Reggie White 30 for 30. If you've ever seen
Yes.
that.
Yep.
And then here's the one that just jumped out to me. It's not really football related, more Philly related.
Oh God.
Skinny Joe Merlino was in this
Really?
at his
Did I
cheesesteak
miss him?
place. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Before the show, everyone, I was talking to him about there's a guy in this where I was like, holy crap, how is he in this? Like, this guy's responsible for like multiple deaths across Philadelphia when the whole Nicky Scarfo thing was happening and all these different Philly gangster stuff. And Skinny Joe Merlino was like the guy.
Him.
Yeah, he was
the guy making the cheesesteaks.
There was a guy making the cheesesteaks in one of the shops and he was talking.
Okay.
Because he's the boss, as you know.
Yeah. Yes.
And but they showed him once or twice, and the third time I'm like, that's Skinny Joe. And I know he started his own cheesesteak shop. He also has his own podcast now. It's like these guys that were arrested for like attempted murder, they just have podcasts and start cheesesteak places.
Yep,
and please, I don't want to die. I'm actually in awe of what you've done. So don't send anyone after me. But like that wasn't one thing that jumped out at me. I'm sure most people watch it that aren't from Philadelphia have no idea, but there is a renowned gangster in this documentary actually being interviewed about the Philly special play.
Yeah, I gotta watch it again. Because I didn't realize it was him. I need the full like, oh my gosh, that's him.
He's like 61, 62 in this, and he's he's at his cheesesteak place, and like if you know who he is, you're just like, yeah. He should be in jail, not in documentaries about the Eagles.
But we love you, buddy. We love you.
Love you. Absolutely. Huge fan. Huge fan.
Love you.
Yep.
Don't come after us.
No.
I guess. Look, I wonder if we end the segment here before we go to break about the underdog mentality and the Rocky Balboa aspect of it. Because I gotta tell you right now, I gotta be honest with folks. And if you're a longtime listener of this show, you know that both Eric, Len, myself, we've talked ad nauseum. We're tired of the Rocky Balboa thing. Like, we get it. We get the underdog thing. But, man, I don't know what it was in this, Eric. I don't know what it was, but it got me. For a bit, it got me. And I was like, you know what? Damn right. Rocky run up those steps. He was a freaking underdog. He was in the spectrum looking at that portrait of himself. And I was... It actually got me a little like, I don't want to say emotional, but I embraced the Rocky Balboa aspect of this a little bit. That's how much I was into this 30 for 30.
We've talked about it a bunch. The Rocky thing has been banged home so much. Yeah. And I was really happy to see recently they're actually considering moving Joe Frazier's statue to there. And moving Rocky to somewhere else.
They should have done that how many decades ago at this point?
Well, I mean, how old would Joe Frazier be at this? I mean, they have many years to do this.
Yes.
You could put B-Hop there, but they stick with the Rocky thing.
Yep.
And you're right. This was one of the few times where I'm like, all right, this is truly an underdog story.
It is.
I get it. But, man, the third time they did the theme song, I was like, all right, you've hammered it home.
I was like that with Eye of the Tiger. When they had Eye of the Tiger, I was like, oh, all right, come on.
Yeah, we got it. But I did love how they tied in Nick Foles looking at his own picture, the huge thing at the Super Bowl, and being like, he kind of laughed because he's like, me versus Tom Brady. Yes. No, come on. Like, this is kind of ridiculous. But hey, I'm here and let's just see what happens.
The honesty of all five of those guys that were interviewed was extraordinary. It really was. Just five honest guys. That's how they were, I believe, back then when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, when they ran that play, and it's exactly who they are today. And like, it's a great Philadelphia story at the end of the day.
It really is. And let's officially retire the Rocky thing now. It's in the doc.
There you go.
It was needed.
Yep.
But so we
right.
get it. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, folks, we're going to take a break. Unless do you have anything else with this particular documentary?
No, the only thing with the 30 for 30 thing, I'm such a huge fan of those. I mean,
they're great.
The Pistons one's probably my favorite one. I've watched all of them.
Yeah.
But like, it does kind of suck that ESPN's like an app now and not really a station. I didn't even know it was out. You told me about it, and I'm like, oh, I should go watch this.
Yes.
I didn't even know it because like I don't check the ESPN app very often.
Yep.
I mean, I wish it was the old days where it was like it's premiering Saturday night, be in front of your TV.
Yeah.
And it was like I remember the University of Miami one from the first season was like, I am going to be in front of my TV Saturday at 8:00 to watch this. The streaming thing is awesome. I can watch whatever I want, but like that's kind of a bummer that I didn't even know it existed until you text me. So
yeah. All right. Well, folks, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we're going to get into some Sixers talk. All-Star break is over. This team is going to be back on the court. What are we expecting to see from them? We're going to get into it in just a bit. All right, we're back. Jeff Warren here, our good buddy Edgecombe Stan, better known as Eric Leonard, with us to dive into the Philadelphia 76ers here. We got some Sixers talk and then some Phillies talk to close us out. Sixers are coming out of the All-Star break here, as is every other NBA team. Their schedule, it does not appear to be too rough, Eric, and wanted to get your thoughts and have a discussion about how we think this team is really going to fare down the stretch. I'd have people go back in the feed. Our Table Talk interview show this week was with our good buddy Matt Rogers from the Honorable Mention podcast. We did get into this Sixers team, and we were really talking about just how Joel Embiid has been performing. And we know the narrative, the health, blah, 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 blah. Like, we know it. But the dude actually looks like a freaking elite player again. How long is it going to last with those cinnamon stick knees? We have no idea. But I'm going to enjoy this. When he is on the court, Eric, I'm going to enjoy him. I'm going to enjoy watching Tyrese Maxey do what he has continued to do all season. And yes, it's a bummer. It is a bummer that 25-game suspension of Paul George is going to affect this team in some way, shape, or form. But I think it provides some opportunity for some other players as well. I'm feeling optimistic about where the Sixers are right now, even though they shit the bed right before the All-Star break. Couple games were just awful, ugly. But I have that optimism that this team is going to perform well down the stretch. And again, given I'm not going to call it an easy schedule, but the schedule doesn't look too bad down the stretch here. So what are your thoughts with this team as we're coming out of the All-Star break here?
Initial thoughts, like they lost 3 of their last 4 before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And that Knicks loss where they lost by like 50, I think it was. Sorry, 49 points.
That could have been one of the worst losses within the past 5 years. It really could have been.
That was one of those.
Terrible.
Okay, the All-Star break's coming. Do we fire Nick Nurse and get a new coach?
Right.
Once we come out of the All-Star break, because they did not look prepared at all. I think there was some definite, and I've also read some similar stories. I think there was some definite, like they stopped caring a little bit because they didn't do anything at the trade deadline. Except for a really shitty trade, sending McCain to OKC for nothing, really.
Yeah. Do you think that's going to translate over to the second half of the season here?
Well, I tell you what, his one game with OKC before the break. I mean, I think he had 20 points or something like that.
Yeah.
As did Isaiah Joe, which was another kick in the balls for Sixers fans.
Yeah. Yeah. I meant the mentality of the team, that kind of lackadaisical approach. Do you think that's going to translate over to the second half?
I hope not. They had a nice break. It was definitely apparent in that Knicks game where they went down by 20 points in no time. I'm hoping that the way Edgecombe played and the Rising Star stuff, he really stood out. Hopefully that catapults him into like another level as a rookie, because he's gonna have to step up, which is really hard on a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure. Like Embiid has been great. I mean, there's no complaints.
Right.
But he's not playing already. He's out tonight with a shin issue.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer, because you talk about the schedule coming up. They got 5 games for the rest of this month.
Yeah.
Hawks at home. Then they play at Pelicans, T-Wolves, Pacers, and then they're home against the Heat. Those are there should be like 4 wins there out of 5.
Yeah.
And if they don't come out 4 wins out of 5 and Embiid's not playing, I'm going to start to get a little worried because they're only 30-24. They're clinging on to the 6th seed right now.
Yeah.
So they're out of the play-in, which is great. That's kind of where you want to be. But if everything ended right now, they're playing the Knicks in the first round with New York having home court. And we all saw them in just last week, against the Knicks.
Yeah.
And they got slaughtered. So I'm hoping with this initial easy schedule and Embiid comes back, hopefully after this Hawks game, that their only chance of winning at this point, because when they made that McCain trade, I thought they're going to make another deal.
Yeah.
Because they got that first round pick and they just sat on it. And I think that's why everyone was really bummed out. Just not, besides McCain leaving because he's such a likable guy. Like Paul George has to come back and play well, and Embiid has to play. It's the only way this team can hang on to the 5 or 6 spot. That's pretty much, and that's what we talked about before the season. Like we were like, where are they going to wind up?
Right.
And we said ceiling is like a 5 or 6 seed, and then the play-in's kind of in the middle, or Embiid's not going to play and they're going to tank. But I right now they're at where the ceiling, what we talked about earlier this year.
Yeah.
And they can still maintain that because the teams that are below them I'm not afraid of.
They're not great.
All. No. But neither are the Sixers without Embiid, without Paul George. Like you can only get so much. They can beat the crappy teams, and they're going to play the Pelicans and the Pacers and the Heat at home. The Heat are right there behind us a little bit, but without Embiid and without Paul George, it's just, we're going to probably wind up in the play-in, and then, we'll play Boston or there's a whole month, to get ready for the playoffs. But right now I'm positive.
All right.
But
nice.
But I'm like 65% positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fair. But look, I mean, we also got to talk about the fact that this team has signed Cameron Payne. Is he the guy that's really going to give this Sixers team a punch when it comes with shooting?
No,
I'm joking. But look, it's a signing that kind of, I guess, needed to happen. He's familiar with Nick Nurse's system. Played 31 games for Philadelphia in the back, 2023, 2024. I guess. I mean, he's been around. He has been around. But the fact of the matter is, after getting rid of McCain, they needed to bring in someone. So I didn't want to dive into it completely here, but what are your thoughts here with the signing of Cameron Payne?
He'll fill out a uniform.
There you go.
The bench.
Okay. You don't think he's going to be the punch this team needs from a shooting perspective?
Not when he was in the ABA Serbian League.
Right.
That's for the KK Partisans team in the Serbian League.
I don't know them.
I had to look it up.
Okay.
They're currently 14-1. They're tied for first place.
Ooh.
Jabari Parker and Shake Milton are on that team, by the way.
Shake Milton's on that team?
Yes, he is.
That's where he landed? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So that's what you're dealing with here with campaign.
All right.
Whatever he gives you off the bench is a bonus. He's just a body. So that's pretty much it. I can't even joke because
we can't.
He wasn't even in the league. Yes.
Right. All right.
And you traded McCain away and brought in campaign. That's
Len and I talked about it last week. Just
he is right.
Yes. But look, so we're moving along here with our conversation, and before we get to our interview this week, Eric, Philly spring training has started. A lot of storylines. We're going to be talking to our friend Eric Moratelli from thatballsoutahere.com in just a bit, but I'm really going to be keeping my eyes on, in terms of storylines during spring training, Justin Crawford. It's finally happening. We're going to see him. Yes, Andrew Painter, the big storyline, probably the biggest storyline that folks are going to be keeping their eyes on, who are really honing in on this team. But Justin Crawford, not necessarily a dominant outfielder, as we know, somebody who has been going through the farm system. But the point for me is that the farm system is producing talent. I mean, 8 years ago, we were saying to ourselves, my gosh, when is it going to happen? This farm system is depleted. This farm system has no talent. This farm system isn't fun to watch. This farm system isn't fun to keep tabs on and to know who may get to the major league level. but it's starting to happen, whether it is with Andrew Painter, whether it is with Justin Crawford this coming season. So this Phillies farm system is actually producing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Justin Crawford's going to do, not just in the outfield. And again, he's not the most stellar outfielder in the world, but, where his batting is going to go, how he's going to develop. And I think we need to temper our expectations with both Painter and Crawford, but specifically with Crawford, got to give him some grace out of the gate. He's going to be learning. He's going to be developing. And he's the one guy I'm really looking forward to seeing in spring training and then subsequently this season. So who's the one person for you, buddy?
Well, just on Crawford quick, I mean, I think people are slotting him into the starting lineup already.
Yeah.
So
that's my thoughts.
He better perform. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of banking on that. For me, it's definitely, there's two guys. There's 1A, 1B. 1B would be Adolis Garcia. They're pretty much banking on him being a really everyday player in right field, and get back to his like 30 home run kind of seasons that he was having with the Rangers.
That'd be freaking fantastic.
Or and just a solid glove at least in right field. Mm-hmm. And
he's no Whit Merrifield.
Yeah, that's actually a good thing. I mean, I was a little concerned when I saw Instagram footage of him taking BP, and I'm like, that dude is jacked like Corey Clement. Actually.
Dude, he is. Yes, he is.
And I'm like, I hope he wasn't doing stuff before he got there. But he's always been that big. So but just seeing him, like just video of him swinging, like, oh my God, with no sleeves on.
Yeah.
Massive dude. So he's 1B for sure, but 1A for sure. It definitely is Andrew Painter. Because of the starting pitching, there's so many question marks. I mean, I've seen the pitching lineup with Jesus Luzardo slotted into the number 2 pitcher slot.
Yeah.
Which, hey, he was good last year, but a number 2 pitcher in the National League and NL East, like,
this is what we got with Wheeler and his injury and health issue. Yeah.
So I mean, Wheeler's another one to watch, but I don't know how much he's going to be throwing, actually in games in spring training. But Luzardo being number 2 is frightening to me. Aaron Nola's uncertainty makes me just watch Andrew Painter 100%. There's no cap on how many innings he can pitch in spring training. Justin Crawford is key because he's obviously people are slotting him into the center field spot.
Yeah.
Andrew Painter is going to have to be like your number 3 pitcher, like pretty quickly. I mean,
3 or 4. Yeah.
3 or 4. And that, like, you're going to need that. And thankfully early on, like there's some gaps in between games. Maybe he could like be the 4, not have to pitch all the time and kind of ease into it. But there's so many question marks with the starting pitching that Painter like has to perform right away, or they're going to be on the who gets cut market of the other teams in spring training, which is not always great. Yeah. So it's definitely Painter because he's kind of key to what they want to do this year.
Really quick, and I wasn't planning on talking about this, but when you look at the NL East, and folks, if you go back in our feed, the Opposition Territory pod this week, talking to our friend Chris Willis from SB Nation, covers the Atlanta Braves, and like the interesting conversation we had, and he is under the belief that the Phillies are still probably the top team in the NL East. And in his eyes, he's saying, look, the Braves, with all the injuries that they've had throughout the course of this offseason and spring training now, the injuries are all over the place for them. The Mets usually Mets, but then again, it's going to be interesting to see how they fare out of the gate with this kind of retooled type of team where they're spending a lot of money on folks. It seems that the Phillies are still slated to be that top team in the NL East here, even with the challenges that you're talking about. So I think we got to go into it optimistically. That's my point here.
Yeah, I agree, because the cogs are still there in place.
Yeah.
They're a little older and a little rusty, but they're still there. And I think it's enough for them to be one of the favorites in the East. I think the Mets are going to be scary as hell. So are the Braves. I know they have injuries.
Yeah.
But I mean, just because they have a combination, much like us, like the Phillies, we have 2 guys, our top prospects. We're expecting to make the team and perform. in Painter and Crawford, and some of those other teams, the Mets and the Braves, their younger guys are coming up too, and they're expecting them to perform, and they went crazy in free agency for the most part. The Mets definitely did. So, but I would still say we're one of the favorites. But we all kind of mirror each other right now. All three of those teams. I don't count the other two teams. But like it, I don't know if I think all three would be favorites, but I think we're just slightly up there because we have Sanchez, and if Wheeler comes back, hopefully somewhat healthy, then we probably have a pitching advantage over those other two teams. So
yeah. All right. Well, buddy, I'm going to let you go. We're going to get to our interview in a bit here. If you're watching on YouTube, what are your thoughts on this Phillies team as we are in the midst of spring training? Leave a comment below. Would love to hear from you. And you can also shoot us off an email, PhiladelphiaSportsTable@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you here on the show. If you want us to talk about anything in particular here on the show, we'd love to dive into it if we do have the opportunity to do so. And that's going to do it for us. We're going to go to break right now, buddy. Take care. Hey, look, get some rest. Stay off your feet, okay? Drink some apple juice. I don't know.
I'm going to have to get one of those stair things to get me upstairs. Like
yeah. Oh, yeah. The the thing like in Gremlins.
Yeah.
Yes. You need a walking stick too.
Hopefully I don't fly through the ceiling like in Gremlins.
Oh, I hope you do.
Isn't it weird? Like that's how we know that thing is from the movie Gremlins.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. I love it.
Me too. It was the funniest thing ever back when you were like 8 years old. Yeah.
Yes. All right, folks, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a bit. And joining us this week to dive into the Philadelphia Phillies spring training has started. And we're really excited to see what this 2026 Phillies team is going to do in the NL East. And if they're going to be able to make some noise in the postseason, perhaps. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but we got a great discussion coming your way. We've got our good friend from ThatBallsOutOfHere.com over at Fansided, Mr. Eric Moratelli. My friend, how are you doing? First off, congratulations on becoming a new father. And
Thank you.
again, I want to say, how are you doing? I think you're doing okay here at this point, right?
Yeah, doing well so far. Knock on wood, everything's good. She's sleeping, so let's just keep that going, and we'll be in good shape.
Absolutely. Look, I am excited about this Philly season. I really am. Like, I as much as certain sectors of the fan base have been a little downtrodden saying, running it back. I think the Andrew Painter narrative that we're going to be getting into in a bit is going to be very interesting. Justin Crawford, how he develops. He's not going to be a perfect outfielder by any stretch of the imagination, and he's probably not going to be perfect in the batter's box, but it's going to be fun. You know why? Because he's part of the farm system. This is what we've been wanting for so long. We want talent coming up from the farm. How are they going to impact this team? Dude, I'm really looking forward to this season. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I am too. And, I think, there's been like you said, a lot of negativity kind of surrounding this offseason.
Yeah.
From portions of the fan base. And I get it. I mean, when you keep seeing the same end result at the end of a postseason, I totally get the frustration. However, you got to look at the big picture here, right? And I think this team still has a lot of really good pieces. Obviously there's the Wheeler injury makes the rotation a little bit more iffy. Losing Ranger Suarez makes the rotation a little bit more iffy.
Yeah.
But that was such a position of strength where I'm not super worried about. I think the bullpen's better. Honestly, I think the bullpen's better this year.
I can't wait to get into that with you.
Yeah. than 2025. And the offense will forever be a question mark, maybe. But maybe this will be the year that some of these guys figured out.
Who knows?
Maybe we'll learn how to elevate a ball a little bit.
Who knows? Look, to get us started here, that was a big breath that I just took because, look, we have not – I feel like we got to get this out of the way. We really have not dove into this storyline at all on this podcast platform, and it's the Dave Dombrowski and Bryce Harper crap. And I think we haven't dove into it mainly because, honestly, my co-hosts and I, we really haven't given a crap about it. I think it's something that was really blown up a lot by Philly sports media, certain Philly sports personalities as well on the interwebs. But at the end of the day, it is a storyline. I guess we have to just touch on it here. I mean, we don't have to go too deep here, Eric, but I want this to go away. It's a distraction. It's an unneeded distraction and storyline. Is there really discord here? Is this just annoying? An annoying storyline here. What do you think about what has gone down in terms of this Dave Dombrowski and Bryce Harper situation that we've been unfortunately having to deal with here?
Annoying is the way I would put it, I think.
Okay.
I think I think Dombrowski, I think when he said it at the end of at the end of the 2025 season, I think there was a little, I think Bryce might be a little sensitive about it. I mean, I get he was kind of called out. Maybe Dombrowski didn't word it the best way.
I don't think he worded it the best way. And guess what?
Didn't.
Sometimes guys make mistakes. Oh, well,
But,
dude, he's Bryce Harper.
Right. And it's been 3 months. I mean,
Yes.
at this point,
Yes.
I mean, I remember, you get into a fight, especially in a baseball clubhouse. There's going to be disagreements. I feel like you can't hold these grudges.
Right.
This team, and I was mentioning this to you a little bit before, we went on here, how I think that the Phillies have been a relatively drama-free organization up until really this offseason, right? The Dombrowski stuff, obviously the stuff that just happened with, Nick Castellanos' departure, a lot of the not spending, missing out on Bo Bichette, things like that. I don't love this to start out spring training.
Yep.
But I think it's going to be, I think in the grand scheme of things, we're going to look back and it's going to be, a big nothing.
Yes.
But it's just annoying to start. I want to watch content of, fun stuff going on down in Clearwater and have, kind of living vicariously through the reporters who are down there in the warm weather and avoiding all this cold stuff up here. But it's just get rid of this.
Exactly.
Can you sweep it under the rug? I hope that Bryce is pissed off though, because I think it pissed off Bryce. It's 35 home runs this year.
Yes.
So maybe it'll benefit us in October.
It's a great way to look at it. It's a great way to look at it. Look, I want to put it to rest in folks who have been listening to this podcast for some time. I really just don't want to get into it. And I do think it's going to be a big nothing burger. Like you were saying, I really do. I think it's going to be a nothing burger at the end of the day. Bryce Harper stays healthy. It's health with everybody in the world of professional sports. He's going to have a damn good year if he is healthy. So that being said, buddy, let's get into the pitching on this team, because I cannot wait to see not only what happens with the rotation, what happens with the bullpen. We're certainly going to get to the bullpen in a bit, but I'm heading into this season thinking it's going to be a pretty solid rotation. And of course, Andrew Painter, I think, could have the weight of the world on his shoulders, as he is probably the single most fascinating storyline of this coming season for the Phillies. It's the waiting game that we have all been going through. Those of us who dive into the farm system, we have been following his stats. We've been following what he's been doing from the mound. And I think with that pressure that he is going to have, and what the game of baseball does to the minds of very young players as well, we see it all the time. I do wonder if this tremendous pressure on Andrew Painter is, one, fair, and two, somewhat setting him up for a potentially difficult rookie season, because the expectations here, I believe, are high from the fan base. How are you seeing this Andrew Painter narrative as spring training has started here?
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. And the whole Andrew Painter storyline has really been interesting from the get-go, because, we're looking, what was it, it was 3 spring trainings ago now that he was ready to, potentially crack the major league roster as a 19-year-old entering the 2023 season.
19 back then. Yes.
Right. Exactly. Now he's an old man at 22, but it's, he threw one inning, I think, and then the UCL thing. But I remember the anticipation of Andrew Painter. I remember sitting down. I'm going to make sure I'm watching this game. I want to watch Andrew Painter pitch, because I hadn't really seen it. Right.
Yep.
And then now it's I feel like because of the season he had, a lot of people, not the experts, a lot of people who think maybe they're experts, are really down on him because of the season he had last year. But I think it's really important to put some things in perspective with A, his age, and B, his 2025 season, right?
Yeah.
So he has a 5.26 ERA, not great, right? You don't want to see that. However, the biggest takeaway is that he pitched 118 innings, right? So it's that's way more than he's ever thrown professionally.
Yep.
That's a step in the right direction. I read something this week. I forget if it was Matt Gelb. It might have been Matt Gelb about his recovery. He's able to long toss again now, and they're changing his arm slot a little bit so he gets that the spin back on his fastball. So I think all those things are going in the right direction. He seems healthy. He seems happy. He seems pretty positive. The thing is, though, is he's still young, and I think putting all this pressure on him, and not having Wheeler, losing Suarez, really does set him up for having a ton of pressure on him.
Yes.
Whether that's fair or not, I don't think it really is, but unfortunately it's the nature of the beast right now. And the market and the Philly sports media, I don't think is always going to be kind, especially given what he did last year. People are already kind of down on him when I don't think there's a really need to be. Let him. He's got a whole year now under his belt after Tommy John surgery. Do I think he's going to, pitch to a 3 ERA? Absolutely not. His ERA is probably going to be over 4. We're probably going to have to expect this. He may throw 130, 140 innings only, but that's part of it, right? Like you need to get these guys into it. Let him get a season against Major League pitching. Again, he's not going to be a Cy Young Award winner like Paul Skeens, in his second year probably, but he does have a lot of potential. Right. And I think everyone needs to kind of look at how he pitches and kind of keep that in perspective. Now, again, I know this team also has to win. So now the front office needs to think, okay, if he doesn't have it, what are they going to do from a starting pitching standpoint? But I think Andrew Painter needs to have a little bit of a leash from the media, at least in the beginning, until he can get get used to pitching in the major leagues.
We're right on the same page with this, buddy. We really are. But, shifting over to the bullpen now and getting into what this bullpen is going to be, I cannot wait, dude. I cannot wait in terms of NL East teams facing this Phillies bullpen, which I think is a better bullpen than what it was last season. Everybody knows the big names: Duran, Alvarado, Banks, Keller, and one guy in particular, and so many still upset with him for how last season ended, and that's Orion Kerkering. And you actually wrote a really nice piece recently on thatballsoutofhere.com about the Phillies' refusal to trade Orion Kerkering, who's only 24 years old. And you basically wrote it's an indication that he's going to have a big bullpen role this year. I can't wait to see it because I've always loved the guy. I really have. I have always loved watching him from his first year, how he's developed his pitches as well. Talk about if and why we should expect this to happen in 2026, that expanded bullpen role that you wrote about. Give us your thoughts there.
So I think what's going to be really good for him is the fact that the organization has been doing a really good job of saying, hey, you're valuable to us still. Like, we know you still have really good stuff, because it wasn't necessarily, his stuff that was the reason he kind of got scapegoated at the end of last season, right? It was that split decision making, which, he's a young kid. It is what it is. It's in the past. But I think obviously he's probably, and rightfully so, going to be a little fragile minded going into this season. I think as many people would be, knowing what would happen. Getting Brad Keller as kind of that other right-hander to get to Duran takes a lot of pressure off of Kerkering. Now, instead of having to be like that 7th, 8th inning guy, depending on, matchups and everything, he can now kind of start off the season easing in as, a mid-level reliever with really good stuff, trusting his stuff again. Because even after, he didn't have the best season last year, right? I mean,
right.
Was he bad? No, but it was not what he was expecting. Probably he gave up a couple more home runs. His ERA was a little higher than the previous year. But I think with Kerkering, adding other people in there, even with the trade for Matt Strahm, getting Jonathan Bolin in, now you have a good core of middle relievers, I think, that are stronger than it was heading into the 2025 season, or really any of the seasons leading up to that. So I think that takes a lot of pressure off of Kerkering. The stuff he has, he can be a back end of the bullpen guy. I think it's just getting him there again, letting him trust his stuff, and just seeing. But it's honestly like, I would much rather have a guy like Kerkering there than starting off the season with some of the people we've had they've had in the past. So I remember Carlos Hernandez making the bullpen last year. I'm thinking, he throws pretty hard, But look, he pitched like 4 games. I'm like, maybe
Yes.
not the guy. So
Right.
I really like where they're at, and having Kirk Ring in that role, I think is good for this bullpen.
I think it's going to be real good for the bullpen. Expectations are high for this bullpen. Expectations, I think, are always high for every Philly sports team, no matter where they are in their process, in their window of opportunity. But we're going to talk about this Phillies team a lot more in just a bit because we are going to take a break. But Eric, you can find him on the Twitter/X at Eric_Moratelli. And again, thatballsoutofhere.com. Are you on any other socials out there you want to throw out?
Socials? No, I'm not really on
Twitter/X.
that I post
Okay.
stuff on. Yeah, Twitter/X is my social.
Bless you. I'm still there. I keep teasing it that I'm gonna get off.
Yeah.
Oh, it sucks.
From
it
a
really
news
does.
standpoint and from a quick getting sports information standpoint, I still like it a lot. There's a lot of other stuff.
That's why I stay, dude. Yep,
but
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why.
Yep. All right, folks, we're gonna take a break. We got a lot more Phillies talk coming your way when we come back. All right, we're back with our good buddy Eric Moratelli from thatballsoutofhere.com over at Fansided. Follow him on the Twitter/X at Eric_Moratelli. And, we've talked about this one player before, and all eyes are going to be on him this season to see where he can go, if he can go anywhere in terms of his game. And that is Bryson Stott. Again, we've talked about him before when you've been on the show, Eric. And yes, he has improved as a Major League Baseball player over the years that he has been a starter, but he hasn't fully broken out to that next tier. What do you think we need to see from him to give us some hope that he is elevating his offense? Or do you think we've seen his offense plateau at this point in his short career? Really great defensively. Love his defense, but man, offense, I feel like it's plateaued here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and it's a really interesting case because we've definitely talked about, I think it might have been this time last year we were talking about who I thought my breakout player was going to be, and it was Bryson Stott.
I thought so too.
You kind of just keep waiting for it to happen. And again, he's not a bad player by any means. Second base, you're not always going to get the best production out of. For his defense, like you said, has been spectacular. I think we're probably going to see something in the middle of his two. Like last year was a tale of two halves, right? His first half, he finished with a 637 OPS. Obviously not good at all. Second half, though, he hit 294 and finished with an 855 OPS. So that was a really strong second half from him, particularly in August and September and that very beginning of October. Now, is he going to be an 855 OPS player in 2026? No. But if he can get somewhere into that 780, 790 OPS range, that's kind of where I think he's going to be. So do I think he's plateaued? No, but do I think his ceiling is much, much higher offensively? I don't think it's going to be much higher. But from what you need with the other guys and the other pieces in this lineup, if he could just get on base, because once he's on base, he can make things happen. He's shown the ability to be able to steal bases. He's shown a little bit of pop, but I think if he can kind of get into more like that, like I said, like that 780, he's not going to probably be an 800 OPS player, but if you get to that 780 OPS, I think that really adds a lot to this lineup for Bryson Stott. So, yeah.
No, okay. All right. I'm hoping we see a little bit more offensively because God, his defense, it just makes me so happy. It really does.
I really like him as a player. I mean, he's a fun player to watch.
Yes.
It's just, it just can't seem to hit that extra.
Absolutely.
Extra step.
Yep. Well, as we're moving along here, every year there are players that surprise us in the game of baseball, and how they meet the moment, how they meet expectations. And we've seen it with this Phillies roster over the years, whether it's Zach Wheeler, whether it's been Kyle Schwarber, of course, last year, just meeting the moment, meeting those expectations, giving us that excitement as fans. So I'm wondering, which player do you think is going to surprise us the most here in 2026? What are your thoughts here?
So this is a tough one. And I've kind of been going back and forth because I have one, I don't think would be as much of a surprise. I have two, I think would be kind of surprises. And one, right. I might need to duck because I think people might start throwing stuff at me.
Okay.
But hear me out for a second. Aaron Nola might have a good 2026. So,
dude, I think so too. Even number of years, he is good.
So
odd
even
number years he
he's
stinks.
good, right? Exactly.
Yes.
So I keep trying to talk myself into it because he's been on the team forever. I've always really liked Aaron Nola. I know he is. It's funny because for how quiet of a guy he is, he might be the most divisive player
Yes.
on the Phillies roster. And I don't know why. People just can't stand this guy. And I know he gives up a lot of home runs. It is what it is.
Right.
But this is why I think people might get angry about this. However, he from 2018 through 2024, he threw over 180 innings every year except for the COVID shortened 2020 season.
Right.
Last year he threw 94 and a third. So that's going to be a really fresh arm from Aaron Nola coming up, plus the even year. Do we get a little resurgence? Am I expecting, again, just like Andrew Painter, I'm not expecting a 3 or a sub-3 ERA from Aaron Nola. I think that he just gives up. He leaves too many pitches over the plate, so he's going to give up those home runs. It's just a fact of life. We have to deal with it. We should be used to it at this point, right? However, do I think maybe like a 3.75, 3.8 ERA might be in play? Okay. I really think, though, if he can go back to just eating the innings that he is accustomed to doing and getting back into that, around 190, 200 innings, getting around that 190, 200 strikeouts, like that's what you're looking for him. You have Sanchez now. You have hopefully Andrew Painter coming up. Like, you don't need him to necessarily be an ace. You need him to be a serviceable 3 or 4 who can eat innings. Yep. I know, his contract may say that he's getting paid to do a little bit more than that, but it's not my money. So just pitch well, win games, and save the bullpen a little bit. And I think he could have a good season. Other one who I'm thinking could be a bit of a surprise, Adolis Garcia. He came in, and so
I kind of turned up my nose a little bit on that. I was like, ooh.
That's why I'm trying to think. Like,
yes.
Do I think he's gonna have a 2023? No. But
right.
the Rangers, the stadium in Arlington is hard on right-handed hitters. So, that's something to think about. Citizens Bank Park, a little bit easier to hit in.
It is. Yep.
And I don't know. It's just eventually they have to hit on one of these guys they're taking these 1-year deals on, right? Like,
eventually something's got to stick. When you're throwing it against the wall, it's got to stick.
Right. The other, So Merrifield didn't work. A lot of these guys didn't work. So I'm putting my money on Adolis Garcia because I don't know if you saw the pictures of him in spring training. The dude's absolutely ripped. And I just can't wait to see this guy get a hold of a baseball and hit. His on base percentage might end up being 290. He might draw 4 walks all season, but that's what Castellanos was doing anyway. So just hit more home runs and play a good right field. And I think we're okay. 25 home runs maybe in the tank for him this year.
Ooh, all right.
I think that's a successful season if we can get 25 homers from Adolis Garcia.
I like it, dude. I like it a lot, really. So, I mean, I did turn my nose up a little bit, but you convinced me that this could potentially happen. Could really surprise us. So
when we reconvene at some point this season, we'll see. We'll see how that's going. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, before I let you go, want to just ask what a bold prediction is that you have for this coming season. My co-host and I, when we do our Phillies season preview, we're certainly going to be getting into some bold predictions, but I know it's the beginning of spring training. We're just seeing what these guys are looking like right now. What's your bold prediction that you can give us about what we may actually see in spring training? Maybe it translates over to the season. What are your thoughts here?
One thing I think we keep seeing is I think we just see Christopher Sanchez continue to take that next step.
Yeah.
And I think, starting this spring and even heading into the regular season, I think a bold prediction is that I think he's got a real good shot at going for a Cy Young. The only problem is Paul Skeens being in the NL. So,
screw Paul.
I know he makes it. It's just like Ohtani now being here. Like, no one ever's going to win MVP again because he's there. So, but I think Christopher Sanchez, but barring anything crazy, I think Sanchez does have a shot at making a run at the Cy Young. And I think from leaving spring training, something that I'm going to really be keeping my eye on. And I think I wouldn't say it's maybe bold because I'm not going to say he's going to make it out of spring training, but I think Aiden Miller is going to really force the organization's hand here and make them have to make a decision because the way he finished last year and just the way that all these different prospect rankings over the offseason have really been talking about him and different scouts around the game have been talking about him, it sounds like he's really high on the radar. And I think if he has a really good spring and, at spring training, and assuming he's going to start the season at Lehigh Valley, I think a bold prediction could be that by, June or July, we start seeing conversations about Aiden Miller potentially getting the call up and just then figuring out where to put him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. I'm excited again. I'm excited again for this season. I really am, dude. I cannot wait.
I can't wait too. Baseball season's always it's my favorite, and I just it brings warm weather. It's like there's always something exciting about it. So
absolutely. Again, folks, he's Eric Moratelli from thatballsoutahere.com, over at Fansided, at Eric_Moratelli on the Twitter/X. My friend, thanks so much for taking the time to join us this week on the show. And as always, I'd love to talk to you at some other point down the road. Come back and join us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jeff.